Since I'm holding this mic, I'll start. Well, I know we've got a good mix because we got some hardware, some software. You know, we really primarily take it from the software aspects. We actually kind of sit between our customers on the network providers and the vendors on the hardware providers to sort of do that in-between part of making everything work together, providing the best experience, the best connectivity. You know, we've got several products around connection management, but what we're seeing these days is that connectivity is getting more complex. You know, even though we're getting the higher speeds, the better connections, as somebody on the previous panel said, the other connections don't go away. So we're putting a lot more intelligence into the software in terms of how connections are made, what the right connections are to be made, et cetera. And you know, it's actually, when you talk about user experience, it's not just what happens and what the customer sees, it's the overall experience from deployment, activation, through connectivity, and then you know, how to measure these things, you know, back to the carriers or the you know, folks that are responsible for that. So we've got several solutions around that, and the way things are being connected now is much different. It used to be point to point, right? Operator, phone, but now we're seeing the introduction of mobile hotspots, either as standalone solutions or even through Android handsets. So now there's an added level of complexity that needs further management. To that extent, we've introduced some new standards and announced those at CES called SODA, Secure On-Device API, to help balance that and provide more improved user experience to those end peripheral devices. So I think we'll probably talk a lot about the technical challenges, and that's fine. You know, there are many technical challenges, and you know, we've got enough people at the show that we'll all figure out those technical challenges. To me, the biggest challenge is more the processes that are ingrained in our industry in wireless. I always refer to Apple whenever talking about user experience. You know, I'm not sure, Matt, if you've ever had Apple here at Mobile World Congress and had a chance to talk to them, because they're never here. Yet, they turned our world upside down all by user experience. You know, it's not necessarily cutting edge technology, it's user experience, and it goes back to where do we prioritize, you know, from an industry, our design processes. You know, to get good user experience, it has to be at the forefront of your process. And I think many times our challenge is that it's an afterthought as opposed to the forefront. So there's going to be a lot of technical challenges, but I think the one challenge that would probably prevent anyone at the show from turning around that user experience is the process that have been ingrained in us. So that's fine. At least we recognize those. I think there's going to be a lot of companies that are up and coming that are going to help change that. And you know, Apple was one of those companies that, you know, took a user experience and made it a competitive advantage.